In America, we have a political left. It's a progressive left. As you know, it's sexually permissive. And this political movement appears strangely allied with radical Islam. Can you explain this?
When I was an extremist, Islamist, fundamentalist, I would only vote left.
Why is that?
I saw them as very stupid. I would fear the conservatives because they come with principle. That's not someone they can brainwash. But the left, I know they have no values and no principles to begin with. I dare you to find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. They'd give their vote to the leftist who wants to run around in pride parades. And Islamic extremists are against gays and homosexuals and transgenders, but they want the left to go and get busy with that. They want them, go speak about the climate, go speak about abortion, go kill yourselves, go do that. Ilhan Omar, she's fighting for abortion rights and all the other, my body, my choice. Yes, go do that. But would she have an abortion? Never. Never. Would she kill a Muslim in her stomach? Never.
What is the fundamentalist and jihadi agenda for America?
The future of America has to be Muslim.
I want to see every single woman in this country covered from head to toe. I want to see the hand of the thief cut. I want to see adulterers stoned to death. I want to see Sharia law in Europe, and I want to see it in America as well.
The only thing I would say is that in America and in the United Kingdom, democracy...
A backwards one.
But it's
a
a
barbaric
system
one.
that allows the people to choose what they want and allows people freedom.
So why can't I choose Sharia?
So in one school, they had a white girl wearing a hijab. First Minister, on Friday, I was with the Ethnic Youth Support team in Swansea, and they were saying that they would like to have much more support going into schools and education venues in regards to trying to get communities to work together. And so in one school, they had a white girl wearing a hijab, and she walked down the street.
Why?
And then she came back and she said how different she felt she'd been treated because she was just wearing one piece of headwear that was different to how she would usually dress.
I've said people who commit mass violence against British people reject their membership of our community. They are actively hating us. Now, I've said that because we have issues with integration. A reminder, Manchester Evening News newspaper this week. We have just been on the verge, thankfully the police got there, but we have just been on the verge in Manchester of the biggest terrorist attack, one of the biggest terrorist atrocities in this country. It is responsible to say we have to have a conversation about why people like that feel the need to commit violence.
And
now, what you're trying to do is mislead voters.
You've made your point. Let Hannah just come back now. It is irresponsible to tar everybody with the same brush. And I have taught, as so many people in Greater Manchester will do, and I will probably get quite emotional about this, about that feeling that we all had straight after the Manchester terror attacks. Of how horrendous it felt that happened in our city, that children were murdered at a concert. They were murdered at a concert, and now you are using that to further and fuel division in our society.
You never asked why these things are happening.
What we did after the terror attacks was we came together and we stuck up for each other.
But you've never asked why are those things happening?
Of course we have.
Why are they happening?
Of course we have, because people like you are dividing people.
So I'm responsible for the Manchester Evening News arena bombing now?
That's not what I've just said.
Because we have very real issues with integration, and I've even had lots of minority Brits in this seat say exactly the same thing.
Jackie, the UK be predominantly white?
No, why would we be predominantly white?
So-called white people were taught to be scared of wanting to preserve their culture and so-called race, right? Let me give you some examples. See, in Africa, it is predominantly African people, and they want to preserve their culture and race over there, which is fine, and nobody has a problem with that. In South America, or parts of that continent, many of those people are Hispanic, and they want to preserve their culture and so-called race as well. Nobody has a problem with that as well, too. Same thing for Asians. No one has a problem with Asians wanting to preserve their culture and race in Asia. Nobody has a problem with that. But for some strange damn reason, when it comes to the white person of wanting to preserve their race and culture in parts of Europe, it's a damn problem. Why can't they want to keep their culture as white or their race. Why is that a problem? Everybody else can do it. Everybody else can do it, but they can't. I've noticed this. I've noticed this bullshit, and it's really effed up. But again, society loves to shame the white person of wanting to keep their culture as white. I see no problem with that.
I've been watching a few things on Rupert Lowe, not a lot, but I'm going to dive deep into him this week. However, one thing that I would say is what you can see is happening is the UK Brits, the natives that are here, are finally beginning to tribalize with one another. And what that means is you're going to see a rise in nationalism. And because the race card has been used in a way to manipulate, whether people want to admit that or not, they've been using it to get what they want and use it as a way to manipulate and make people feel guilty and use it as a tool, not always for good. Not everyone, but most. Now you're going to also see the consequences of that as well. People need to understand that there's always consequences to behaviour. So as much as I'm calling out certain behaviours and it's being denied, it won't stop the consequences. The consequences will still come. So now it is going to raise up nationalists who do not care how you view them because you have outspun the race card. For me, it doesn't concern me at all because every nationalist that I've met so far on my journey have not been the people that they claim they are. They're actually the most friendliest, nicest people I've met so far. And I think you get good and bad in all categories. But this is going to now, you're going to really watch the difference between back and forths and consequences. And that's why people can deny, oh no, that's not, there is racism and this and systematic racism. You've used it so badly now because we have social media. We're now going to see a rise in tribal UK people who are going to come back and protect their country at all costs. Good on them.
Been a million white children, 1 million white kids in the last few decades that have been raped by Muslim Pakistani men. It is targeted and our community have a right to be angry. If it was any other country, any other peoples would be burning down the homes and trimming you out the country. But because white people are so tolerant, so far all we've done is demos, but that will come to an end, and I assure you. And we don't involve ourselves in gratuitous violence and terrorism. We're white people. We desolate continents, we wipe out civilizations and we start world wars. So far we've been tolerant, but you wait until that tolerance is gone, when the Anglo-Saxon no longer wishes to tolerate.
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen, I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced into the culture, as if it was an accusation of race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion. Watch out for these symptoms. They are not just symptoms of surrender, very often ecumenically offered to you by men of God in other robes, Christian and Jewish and smarmy ecumenical. These are the ones who will hold open the gates for the barbarians. The barbarians never take a city till someone holds the gates open for them. And it's your own preachers who will do it for you, and your own multicultural authorities who will do it for you. Resist it while you can. And if you wonder what will happen if you don't, look and see how a cricket team in Middlesex in England had to change its name by force last week, because it was called, and had been for years, the Middlesex Crusaders. Look and see how stories about little pigs can't be taught to children in English schools anymore, lest offence be taken by the religion of peace. Resist it while you can.
One of the things that is coming up over and over again is Islamophobia.